Well, hello everyone. This is Private Universe, and today we have another installment of the Margarita Hour. Of course, because we just had the Rugby League Grand Final. Today we have, as per usual, Sebastian Camacho as a guest. We're going to talk a little bit about sport and other things. How you going, Sebastian? It's been a while.
It's been a long time. How you doing? Good?
Good, thank you.
It's been a bit too long between breaks, I think, for my liking, but it's always good to be back.
Yeah, I know. And of course, today, the day after the Grand Final, and the Margarita Hour back, but we don't have any margaritas.
No margarita this time. We've upgraded to Shiver's 12 year, which is a good sign.
That's
year on.
Good. And we had that other one, the Canadian Club 12
The Canadian Club, which we did a good job on. But it's always good to be back. It's good.
So what did you think about the Grand Final this year, the Roosters versus the Canberra Raiders?
I don't even know where to start, to be honest. Obviously the big talking point, the referees. Where do you even start? See, the thing is with it, you almost feel bad talking about them so much, but when you're that bad, you can't avoid it. Like they say, you got to take it easy on them. They're doing their job. But like any other job, if you're getting paid to do your job, you expect a certain quality from it. And if you're not, when you're in the limelight and you're in that sort of level, be ready to accept the criticism. And we're not talking 50-50 errors which are up to perspective, up to opinion, like a foul, whatever. We're talking basic rugby league that, basic calls that wouldn't even happen at any level referee.
Yeah,
at all.
Of course.
Clear cut, it's miscommunication. And to cost a team, what I think the Grand Final, potentially, I'm not saying the Roosters didn't deserve it. They did all the work they could, but it could have. The thing is, it puts the doubt. The Roosters won. They went through and they still put the effort in after that to get what they did. It doesn't take anything away from the Roosters, but what it does is puts the what if.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's all that matters, because now it's not. The ref's job isn't to be noticed. So it's clear and cut. The Roosters won. That's undeniable. But now, okay, it might have changed, but what if it didn't? No one knows. There's no argument. It's
that's
not
right.
Now. You don't know whether the best team on the night won because not necessarily they were. They got a good decision at a right time, which they capitalised on.
Yeah.
But if you were playing for the Raiders, you would be absolutely gutted, and they got every right to.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it was a terrible decision, but what do you do? Should they have started again and said, hang on, let's stop this. Let's take the fifth tackle again and allow them to kick the ball. They can't really do that. But
I think it would have been better. Yeah, okay, it's hard to say at the time. He waved his hand clear as day. Everyone saw it on the TV cameras. You saw it. Okay?
It was six again.
I assumed everyone watching at home saw six again. I thought it was six again. I saw the Raiders got the ball. A few players were playing like sort of touch football, moving the ball quick. So I was thinking, maybe they don't think it's six again. But all it takes in the heat of the moment is one of those players to think it's six again. He takes the tackle. That's all it is. But if the other ref, he should have.
Yeah.
I think then and there, if he took the tackle, the other ref, whether there's two referees, whether he didn't see it, okay, but the one that waved the tackle should have stepped in when they said the tackle, no, I waved six, had the balls to say it at that time. That's why you're there. That's why you're in the Grand Final moment, to say, no, I did wave six. Step up and have the balls. Don't be rattled because it's a final on this. You waved it, you own it. But the worst part is, don't go back and say you didn't. You're on national television. That's the hard part. Have the balls. Whether it was right or wrong decision doesn't matter. But you've made the call, you stick to it. And that's it.
Of course.
And you know what? Anything after that wouldn't have mattered. There's bad calls all the time. But as long as you stick to your decision that you made at the time, it's always justified, because then at least everyone's on the same page. You can't argue with, whether it was right or wrong, okay, but it doesn't cost anyone the game because everyone's on the same page then. New statistics, Roosters would have defended, but at least it's a fair game. You got 13 players playing 13 players that know what's happening, not 6 people here think it's a new set of 6, 5 people there think they're playing the ball. What if someone else got the ball? They would have grubbed it into the dead ball line. Could have got the ball back, drop kick. You don't know.
Without a doubt. They should have, once the miscommunication happened, they should have blown the whistle, stopped it, gone back to that tackle, the 5th tackle, told everyone, look, this is a 5th tackle. They'd start from that point again. And they do that in rugby union sometimes. They go back to the spot. But, yeah, it was a big anticlimax, unfortunately. Maybe the Roosters would have won. But, I mean, in favour of the Roosters, I think the Raiders had heaps of opportunities to be up front beforehand, and the Roosters put themselves in the situation where they were there still to win it.
That's right,
With 12 men, Raiders should have taken the opportunity. They made some bad decisions before, but still, unfortunately, what we're talking about after a grand final is one call.
That's right.
Which cost the game to another team.
100%. And it's bad to put it on that because, like you said, the Roosters, if anything, probably did deserve the game. And Cooper Cronk got sent off, arguably a bad decision that could have been capitalised against. But
and even that might have been in another game. That might have been a penalty try, which means that would have been 8 points. And then Raiders would have been up front against 12 men.
The big issue with this one particularly, though, is because it's, number one, it's a lack of communication. That's number one. But remember, Roosters went on and scored on this next set. That's what it is. If they had defended the set, kicked and got the fullback, you wouldn't even you'd be talking about how bad they were. But we're not talking about costing a team the premiership potentially.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
We're talking. That's what made the issue. And when these refs are there, they don't. In hindsight, they don't know what's going to happen the next set. But that's why they're there. Step up, have the balls to say you made the call, or
That was a huge call because
that's what did it. It's the fact they scored the next try. It's not even the decision or what happened before. You can go back. It's like any sport. Okay, you can go back and blame anything or penalty here but no one cares if you get a penalty and you go down 1-0, you win 3-1. No one gives a fuck. You know what I mean? Remember, this decision cost them the final.
That's right.
That's what it is. That's why people are blowing up, and they have a right to, because it's not one decision. We're talking about a decision that led to the winning try of the NRL Grand Final when it was level scores.
That's right.
In the last 10 minutes.
That's right.
Okay.
Or less than 10 minutes. And that's the thing. It was the timing as well, because if it happened in the first 10 minutes, a team has an opportunity to recover from that.
Exactly.
But basically, that's like giving... it's almost like giving them the trophy right there and there. I mean, it was bad timing.
That's right.
I think someone should have stepped up from. That's why they have so many referees. They got 2 referees. They got 2 linesmen and another person upstairs. The person upstairs just said, "Mate, you've got to go back to the spot where the 5th tackle was taken and start again." And no one would have complained then. No one would have complained.
Because it's fair. And this is where you can go into a whole new thing with how much technology is in the game now. Honestly, how much technology they have, how much they can intervene. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when something is like, why use all that technology in the wrong spots? And when something where it actually should be used and it could clear it up, because no matter what side you're supporting, you can't argue with fact. Like, I'll tell you right now, any Roosters fan even out there would be, they'd even argue with the Raiders going, it'd be shit go for yous. No one's thinking, we deserved it. They know the other way around. Anyone's blowing up, and they actually probably feel sorry as well. But they use this technology. They've got all this technology in their hands. They use it in the wrong spots. They use this technology where they actually make more of a mockery. They take where the person, the referee on the field should be making the decision. They use the technology, and when the technology should be in, they leave it to the ref's decision. They've got the whole thing backwards. They've got the whole system backwards. Everything.
No, I agree. I think in a situation like that, you need to, someone upstairs has to be able to override and say, look,
100%.
this is too important to let go.
100%.
The referee made a mistake. It was changed whilst the game was playing. Not everyone understood. And when you're giving the other team a brand new set of 6 in your own 20, basically, with 5 minutes or 6 minutes to go, it's just...
We're talking 8-all. We're talking...
It's too important.
We're talking a drop goal. Like, we're not even talking... Like, whether it was arguable, they get the ball back, they kick a field goal. That's them. That's the game. Like, it's not. It's so 50-50 at this stage, and I think, I don't know. They get a bit. Because it's a quick moving game. They get excited in the game, but no one would give a fuck if the game stopped for a minute to get the right decision.
That's right.
They recover, and in the end, okay. At the time, as a viewer and a fan, you get frustrated, but deep down, subconsciously, if the right decision is being made, and the players are getting their breath back, you get a more intense game, you overall are happier. Like, as a fan, even if you can't deny if it's a right decision, even if you're frustrated with the time it's taken, whatever.
Of course.
But you can't, but you, even as a you want to win in the right way as well. That's another thing. No one wants to win if you've, you know what I mean? Even they did deserve it, you could say, but you want to be clear cut you deserved it. You don't want that doubt that you could have lost.
Of course.
It's like being a boxer or a fighter. You go in the rounds and, like, imagine winning and everyone thinks you've lost. No one actually wants to win. You haven't won. You haven't, you got to earn it.
Yeah,
so, like, as the Roosters, I think, to be honest, they probably did deserve it. But there's the question of doubt that's in their heads now. And I reckon even as them, it probably wouldn't be as good of a victory as what it could have been. You know?
Yeah, look, it was anyone's game up to then. And, of course, and even at one stage, and I think throughout apart from the first 20 minutes, up to that point, the Raiders were on top. They probably should have scored because they had plenty of opportunities. The defence of the Roosters was very, very good, of course. They also put themselves in the situation to be 8-all. But in the end, I think what should have happened was, look, the referee made a wrong call at the time. Let's play it back. Let's go back. Let's stop the game. Let's go back. Let's go back to the spot where the 5th tackle was played. That's it. And say, look, guys, this is the 5th tackle now. I made a mistake. Now this is the 5th tackle. It's up to you what you do with the ball.
That's right.
And then the players can either win or lose the game. It probably would have gone to extra time, I suspect, then. And then would have created more drama. Now, unfortunately, look, the referees are never going to take responsibility for it because it's in a way, look, it's people make mistakes and referees are human. They make mistakes, but once maybe they didn't even realize they made a mistake, but someone upstairs should have stopped it, should have gone in there and say, look, you got to stop the game as that tackle's being played. Because what happened also, I feel that the Raiders, as soon as the turnover was made, they were all over the place because they weren't in the zone anymore. They were thinking of the bad decision.
They've gone from an instantaneous...
And they probably would have defended those 6 tackles at any other time, but because they were still thinking about the decision...
And they're thinking about attacking. They're thinking to get the ball back, and you said a 6. Suddenly it gets waved. They get the ball. You're half in the mind of arguing, and then suddenly they get a break down the left. Teddy runs in, gets the ball, puts it down. Like, it's just a shit way to end the grand final.
Yeah, it is a big shame. But not only for the Raiders, but for the sport itself. It shows that that there's not enough training you can do because in the end it's up to just fortune, really. Just luck. You've got a call in your favour that changes the game. And you can't train for that. Doesn't matter how many good players you have, what good coaches you have. You get one good or bad decision. And of course, the Raiders and the Roosters deserve to be there. Probably the other team would have been Storm as well. And, the Storm, well, put it this way, the Storm weren't there because of a bad decision a player made against the Raiders in the semi-final. They were winning. They made a bad pass. The Raiders beat the Storm, so the Storm had to play an extra game, which they lost. But it wasn't the referee's decision.
That's right.
It was a bad mistake by a player.
You own it. There's no debate. The team, even if it's if the player makes the mistake, it's a whole different thing. The players are meant to be there who wins the grand final. It's not about the referee's involvement. That's the thing. Even if someone's all over a team all game, but it's one bad pass that decides it. Okay, you own that because it was part of your team. But when someone who's not even meant to be seen on the field and just make the right decision dictates who wins, that's where it becomes.
Yeah, no, it is a problem because it just goes to show that it doesn't matter how much technology you have, human error will still play a part in a game. So if it's the first or second round or any other round, you kind of like leave it because you got next week. It's highlighted even more so in a final because there's no next week. And that's the problem the referees have in any sport, really. So what needs to happen is that someone has to be able to, if you're going to use technology, like you said, I agree, use it at times like these to say, you've got to go back. You've got to go back to the spot
Crucial
and
moments.
start again. Just you go backwards. You go backwards. That's fine. Let's go back to the fifth tackle, tell everyone what's happening and start again because that's going to be very, very important in the long run. And then if the other team make a mistake, so be it. But the referees are out of it.
Yeah, that's right. It saves themselves, if anything.
Yeah, I don't know why they allowed it to play on, really. And I mean,
Anthony, tell me this: since the more technology has come in, is it just perception? But are the referees getting worse? Can you say that to them? Arguably, if we were to switch sides, that it's almost so much doubt in themselves now. They've got the referee, they've got the third, you know what I mean? Like say soccer VAR. There's so much stuff around them going on. Before there's one ref on the field, you make a decision, you abide by it. Now they know they're going to get watched. Now they know there's going to be this.
Yeah.
It puts an extra pressure on the ref, which isn't their fault. Do you know what I mean? But do you think that has changed the mentality of the referee rather than just affecting the game?
Well, I think so because I think the craft of being a good referee has been lost because they train, they learn the rules of a game, whether it's rugby league or soccer or baseball, whatever it may be. Referees do put a lot of work into learning the game, and no referee goes into a game deciding to I'm going to make sure that I'm going to destroy this game. No one goes in with that attitude. They make mistakes because they're human. They see it one way. But sure, they make mistakes. They might give a bad decision. The problem they have now, rugby league, with this grand final is that the referee made a decision, then changed it halfway. That's what we're talking about.
The one thing that they are so critical against going against is what they say is one thing you can never do is change a referee's decision, and they've actually, like, the basic foundation of refereeing is they've done to themselves. Yeah. Even if it's a wrong decision, then everyone knows it, but they've stuck to it. You can't argue.
I know some of the Roosters, and by the way, just for all the listeners out there, both of us are neutral here because we don't go for either the Raiders or Roosters. We're just talking about sport, really. It's not even about rugby league.
Oh, it's just in general. It's more technology in sport.
So what we're looking at is that, so I think what should have happened, once he signalled that it was 6 to go, he should have stuck to that decision, even if it was a wrong decision, because the Canberra Raiders were playing out of their half anyway. It wasn't such an important decision. It would have been a mistake.
No, they were in the opposition half.
Yeah, right. And then he changed his mind.
That's right. Yeah.
Afterward. So but it wasn't. If they had 6 to go there, it wasn't as. And even if they played back and say, "Oh shit," it wasn't. It shouldn't have been 6 to go. No one would have complained really because the referee made a decision, stuck to it, and he just made a human error. He saw it that way. He played it. And he went with it.
Yeah, right.
The problem is that there wasn't any break. He changed his mind during the game when not everyone can see him change his mind, and therefore that's what happened. And then the Canberra Raiders, because no one trains for it. No one trains no coach trains their side to be able to defend a changed decision.
That's right.
No one trains for that because no one expects that to happen. So it's impossible to. But look, in the end, it's the nature of sport, and it's a big shame for a team that played so hard throughout the year to get there, and then in the end was done by a bad decision. But you could also say that they had chances throughout to be up front a lot more, and they didn't take of it. We're talking about this today, unfortunately, because it's. I think the whole system is wrong. The whole system.
You can't
is wrong.
even. It's more so about, that's right, the whole system. It's not about that individual ref's performance. It's about the system in place to protect the referee for that bad decision, to eliminate the human error from the game. With all the technology, for something so simple, something so simple as lack of communication to define or potentially define an NRL Grand Final in today's era, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Why not have that third umpire be able to get in the ear, be able to stop the game, listen, take a breath. It's a 20-second earpiece. Okay, this was waved. This is what everyone saw on TV. This is what one plays thing. Bang, 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 holds it. It happens everywhere else. Most sports, they've all got connection straight back to another referee that can have another view of things and even say, just have another think. That's all he has to say in his ear. Okay, stop. Before he plays the ball, have a think. This is what we saw. You can make the final call, but just let him think before he makes a rash decision. All they have to do is run over to an umpire, run over to this, have a quick chat, boom, 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 and it would be a communication thing. Oh, you wave 6? Okay, no worries. Okay, you wave 6? Yep. Boom. Okay, play the ball. You said a 6. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And then you know what? No one argues. It's okay. The fans boo for 5 seconds. But bang, the game's on.
Yeah.
That's
you guys. I think you're right. It comes down to the point that the referees are under too much pressure. There's too many people making decisions. In the past, it was one person blowing the whistle. They make a decision and they stick to it, and that's it. And throughout all the sports, throughout time, there's been bad decisions. And in the end, you know what the problem is? I think the problem is the final. That you get to the point where one game defines a winner. So in a lot of other sports, you have a table. So in the end, the table doesn't lie. The best consistent team throughout the Rugby League 2019 Australian NRL was the Storm. They didn't even make it to the final. I mean, look at most other sports. You usually find whoever ends up with the most points wins the championship.
That's right. Yeah.
The final is made in order to create more drama, but unfortunately, in the end, it's going to come down to either a bad decision or a bad play, and a lot of the times, the team that wins the grand final wasn't really the most consistent team throughout the whole year. But that's the nature of grand finals.
I guess with US sports, the playoffs are the most important. I feel like that's sort of come here. Whereas some sports, like for instance, soccer, the leagues is what people focus on. It's first past the post, the most point. That's all they care. There's other, when they go to the playoffs or the finals, obviously they want to win, but they don't have the major onus. It's who wins the ladder, who does the points. But with NRL, there's probably not enough respect paid to who actually wins the league. It's actually all about the grand final, which is good. Which is good in a sense.
It creates drama, it creates expectancy.
It gives a chance for everyone. Okay, you got this far. Now everyone has a chance. The first 8, bang, which is good. Resets everyone. There's no, if someone's 40.
It's almost like a new competition.
Yeah,
once the last 8 finish,
someone's 12 points ahead. Doesn't matter. Everyone's at 0 now.
Yeah.
The momentum stops. You got, it's just then, boom, and you find another lift, which is awesome for entertainment. But for the teams, they don't probably get enough credit for the effort they've put in before.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. The minor premiership isn't seen as much here, and you're saying the US sports and some other sports, you find that in some of the finals they play 7 games. So
that's right.
So
NBA.
basically, you have a chance to recover,
which if anything is right, because it justifies still the better team. It's not a 1-game thing. The better team can lose the first game but win the next 4.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's still, which is probably a better system, really. Which you couldn't put in NRL. You can't expect these athletes to play 7 games,
and they could still have the top 8. But I think if they're going to have a third, or like in cricket they call umpire, a third referee or whatever it is, it needs to be. They need to be able to step in moments like this. I think they don't have enough. They don't have enough power. All they're worried about is the slow-mo replay where the person had control of the ball,
Or
and
his
so
fingernail was on the downward
Yeah,
pressure,
no,
like stupid
which is just
shit.
stupid. Like in real time, it looked fine. It looked
my
fine,
God, don't
and
start me on
that should be fine. It should be for moments like these.
That's
that
right.
The third referee, the third umpire, whoever it is, step into the ear and say, "Look, you made a mistake." It's not about it's not about whether, like you said, he had pressure on the ball. That's in real time. It looked fine. That's fine. It's about the players. But it's for moments like this when the referee makes a mistake that someone needs to get in there and say, "Look, you've made a mistake. The other team didn't realise. You need to go back to where you started from," and that's it. And I don't think anyone would complain about that.
No. And you know what? To be fair, like if we switch to VAR in soccer, as I'm not a fan, to be honest, but I think they've got it more down packed a system than definitely they do in NRL in terms of technology. They say in the ear, there could be a tackle in the box. The referee doesn't think it's a penalty. They play on for a bit. All that happens is the VAR saying in the ear, I reckon you take a look at it. The referee decides, stop the game after the play stopped to see what happens. They let them play on. You know what will happen? Would there be a goal or whatnot? The referee decides. They let the referee go over, watch the footage himself. He's not told what to think. He's not told. All they say is, we think you should have another look. You do what you decide. He watches it again with a fresh mind. He sees different angles. He sees this, and he makes the right. Not necessarily, but what he thinks is right. So he's just getting a better view. So it's still up to him. It does slow the game down. It does take away. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely things I don't like about the VAR in soccer. Totally. But in terms of if you're going to implement technology in a sport, do it right. And it's definitely a better way than what's happened in the grand final, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not a fan at all of the VAR. I think the problem that soccer has is that there's not many points scored. So a goal is a big thing in soccer, in football, as we call it. It's a big thing. So in rugby league, in many other sports like rugby union, softball, basketball, there's many points scored. So it's not that important whether it's given or not. A team can recover unless there's a few minutes to go like we're talking about in the grand final. But pretty much I think I'm a big believer of just going back to traditional. Just have one person in charge, making some mistakes throughout 90, 80 minutes. They're going to make mistakes, usually balanced out. The most attacking team are going to get a lot of bad calls, but because they're attacking also, of course, they're going to get some things that aren't right.
They're in the position.
They've put themselves in the position to get a penalty
that
wasn't, and so forth.
They're in the box. They're attacking.
But I don't think as a spectator, the VAR or any of these replays work. I'm a big believer just going to one person with a whistle that knows what they're doing. They're going to make mistakes, but throughout a competition, it's going to balance out. And in the end, the best team is going to win the competition by points.
Yep.
That's what I would do. I would just go back to one person and whoever wins the comp, that's it. And that's relatively fair. And that's how it was throughout time. Now, because we have technology, it's changed, and it's fine. We're using it, but it's also taken out the human factor of sport, where referees are part of it themselves, and if they're neutral, which they usually are, of course, it usually balances out. And if they see it in one way, they call it. It might be wrong because we have the advantage of seeing it from another angle, but from their angle, it was fine. And they're part of the game, and that's it. But once we start, how many angles can you look at? You can look at it from an infinite amount of angles.
That's right, and you see different.
Even with the replays, from two different angles, the same situation looks totally different. It looks like a try from one angle in super slow motion. From another angle, it doesn't. It's just ridiculous. How and not only that, when you're using video, how slow can you get it? I mean, 10 years' time, you might even have a three-dimensional super slow motion, and it's hitting a blade of grass. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Right. Where do you draw the line? That's the other thing. But let me ask you this. Is there a way back from technology? That's the question. We've come forward and forward. We've implemented all the technologies in, but is it going to be harder to take it away now and go back? Like, okay, it's in now. They've got the bad decisions. But I've seen, especially in soccer, the right decision is made. The thing I don't mind with soccer is VAR and offsides because it's clear cut. There's a line. There's no opinion about whether it was a foul or not. There's no, offside is, it's one or the other. You're either on or you're off. If at least the right decision was made, you can't argue with that. I'm for technology in sport for clear and cut decisions that aren't up to the person's opinion on what it is, because to one person what is and one person to the other is totally different. So is there a way back from technology? Like, is it going to be harder to take away technology from sport than it was to bring it in? Because then is it going to have the opposite effect? Oh, what if VAR was in, that would have been ruled offside when it wasn't? That's the argument.
Yeah, I think the difference is now, like 50 years ago, for example, is that a lot of the sport is made for televising. So everyone's playing for the television, and the replays in a way. And you see that with players milking fouls. Like if they get, for example, in rugby league, if they get a semi-head high tackle, they'll stay down because on the replay it'll show that they might get a penalty, where in the past that didn't happen. And so I don't think there is a way out. I think technology is playing a huge part, and not necessarily in a good way. In some way, yes, because we watched the grand final last night from the comfort of our home, and that's fantastic. But in the past, sport, whether any type of sport, even athletics, was competed between the athletes and the spectators in that drome. So in live, basically. And so now it's changed. I don't think there's a way back, but I suspect that once people become disillusioned with what's happening, they may revert to more conservative approaches and allow the human factor to become involved, because it does delay without a doubt. Of course, all sports are much faster now, without a doubt. Even with the delays, they're much faster. Everything's played faster, so those delays allow for everyone to take a breath. But it's, in the end, no one's going to be happy with any full-time score, unless there's light between the two, between the two teams. Now, yeah, look, I don't think there's a way back, unfortunately, because we're just looking at the commercial factor of it, and so everyone is involved. And everyone that's getting paid within sport, which they're getting paid quite well by the sponsors who are televising a lot of these games. So a lot of the sports are made for the televising, not for the spectators that are watching it live.
That's right.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. But I mean, I had I had the luxury of watching both, the transition when I was young, how it was before and now. And I can tell you now, no one was ever happy after a score, especially if your team lost. No one's ever happy. And referees are easy targets.
That's right. But
they're just doing their job.
Back in the day, you could explain the fact that it was up to his decision, that it was his perspective. He had an excuse to say, that's how I saw it.
Yeah, that's
when
right.
you have access to all the technology, they've actually gone themselves. What they've done is they've put all this technology in, and they've actually, instead of helping the game, they've taken all the credibility of the referee. So now everyone goes, okay, all right. So then now, if you're going to bring everything in, we don't expect a wrong decision, and that's the issue, which is fair enough from our perspective, because if you're going to bring everything in and then say, okay, it's to help the game, then you don't expect anything wrong. But then don't not expect criticism when the wrong call's made.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about this.
Yeah.
But back in the day, 100%, you could, no matter how angry you were, no matter what team you went for, the decision was made. But okay, the referee saw it like that. He made the decision. You move on.
Mm-hmm.
But what? Why didn't he get the third umpire? Why didn't he watch the video? Why wasn't someone in his ear? Why wasn't this? They've done it to themselves. They've put themselves in this position, and now they're too deep to back themselves out. They've put the pressure on. They thought they were helping themselves. They've put the pressure on themselves. And now they've got no excuse to make the right decision every single time, which is unfair on them. I 100% agree. But you've put yourself in this position. Find a way out.
That's right. I think technology shouldn't be used at all. As far as if it was me making the decisions of all sport, there shouldn't be any decisions made from someone else apart from the referee.
Goal line technology in soccer. Ball crosses the line. That has to be surely.
Look.
Ball crosses the line in soccer. It should be a goal.
I know, but what about if you say, but there was a handball like 2 passes before that led to that goal. Where do you draw the line?
That's what I don't agree with. I'm with you on that.
So I think no technology, one person with a whistle.
So even if you think the ball in soccer, if someone took a shot, hits the crossbar, bounces in and bounces out.
If it looked like it was in, he scored. It's a goal. Usually he won't give it.
He did score. Look at the rules of the game. He scored. He should be awarded it. The ball crossed the line.
I know. But say in what I'm talking about, say there's one guy with a whistle and he's 20 meters away.
Mm-hmm.
A guy takes a shot from outside the box, so he's nowhere near the goal line. He's not going to see. Mm-hmm. The linesman will probably be in line with the last defender.
Yep.
So they're not in real position. But sure, he takes a shot, hits the post. So the post, right?
Yep.
Are the posts all the same everywhere on the wall? Are they the same diameter? I mean, is the ball inflated exactly the same? They should be, but has the ball been kicked more, so therefore lost air, which means that it would have hit a bit further out? And like if it looked, usually a referee what they would do if they have any doubt, they wouldn't give a goal, and that's fine. If it was 1 millimeter as a goal,
it's a goal though.
I know, but if he doesn't give it a goal, no one will complain because it was a millimeter.
But
he saw it like that.
Either way, it should be a goal. It should. If the ball crosses the line, that's a goal. He should be awarded, and that's what I'm saying. Things that are clear cut, like ball crossing the line, offsides, they're things that can be.
Yeah, but once you introduce technology, you have to introduce it throughout the whole game. That's the problem.
Well, that's why we're in trouble. I guess that's what it's all about. Where do you draw the line? And
that's what I mean. That's why I think technology shouldn't play a part at all. You have in soccer, you have 2 linesmen making decisions and the referee. The referee thinks in doubt they won't give a goal. Like in doubt they won't give a penalty, and I'm fine with that. If it's my team playing and I think it's a penalty, but in real time, it could be either way. It's too much of a call for a referee to say it's a penalty. So in doubt, it's a bit like cricket. In doubt, you can't give a batsman out. They've batted for hours in the net to get to there, and you can't give the person out unless you're 100% sure. Okay, don't give it. They give it, and that's fine, And sure, they end up scoring a century or whatever. And you think, they would have been out, but they didn't.
Yeah, they've done it well. They've got VAR. They've got their review system that is close to 100%. LBs. That's smart. They've been given the choice to review. All right. That's why that system has been done well, because you can still put the onus back on the player. Because yes, I made the wrong decision, but why didn't you review it? Smart. Yep. And actually, you know what? That's just come to me. I haven't thought about that scenario then, and that is actually very good from cricket, because what they've done is is a review system implementable in other sports, or is it going to slow down the game too much? Yes, it works in cricket because you've got time, and there's a timer on when you can review. But is it something in soccer when can they review a penalty that wasn't done? Do you have 2 reviews per game? Footy the same? What can you review? What can't you review? Would it affect it too much? It would take the onus off the referee. But then again, you still have what the referee sees to make the decision. Cricket, what they use is close to 100% accurate. You have the ball going down. You have a system that shows whether the ball would have hit the wicket. If you can't do it, you can't do a penalty because it's still putting it on the referee's decision up there. Yeah. Whether it was or wasn't. It's not clear or cut.
Yeah.
That's the whole issue here.
Yeah, and even in tennis and cricket, they get a certain amount of decisions. But what happens if they use those decisions because they feel like it could work? In cricket, it's a little bit different because it comes down to the captain deciding whether we're going to review it or not, and the batsman. But what if the batsman uses the review, even though his mate says, "Look, it is LBW plum," and I'm going to review it. And then someone else comes in and can't review because I've already used the review.
But that adds excitement to the sport. That's why it's the best part about it, because that's happened plenty of times. It happened recently in the Ashes. It adds an extra element to the game.
Sure.
It adds it to the captain. What do you review? What don't review? Do you succumb to the pressure of needing this wicket, of a big wicket, and review everything? Say if Steve Smith was in, do you try and get him out and review? Do you keep your calm? Do you save it for when you need it? They've done it so it adds a new element.
Yeah.
It would literally happened the other day. So they've done it well. It puts like I said,
the onus on the players.
But that's because it's 100%. You can't argue with the DRS system. It says it wasn't going to hit the wicket. It wasn't going to hit the wicket. You know, you can review it. You think it was a penalty. You watch the screen. It shows you still think it was a penalty, but the ref upstairs goes, no, I don't think it was a penalty. Then what's the point of having it?
That's right. And then yeah, it's touch and go. Once you start with technology, you just don't know where to go back. With cricket, it's easy because it's one delivery.
That's right.
So they start with cricket. They start off with the bowler to see whether it was a legal delivery if their foot was behind the line, for starters, which would never have shown up if it wasn't a wicket, for example. You know, so and it has happened before that they've noticed that it was a no ball. That's clear cut because the play starts from the time that the bowler puts their foot down on that line. That's where the play starts. In most other sports, there's no rule time where you can go back to. So, for example, in this situation of the grand final, they could have reviewed the try and gone back to the decision and say, "Hang on, there was something that led to this." Which basically, it's almost like in cricket. This is where it starts from. This led to this, and sure, this team didn't defend the try, but they were put in a position that was illegal. And that's so right. We've got to go back to that point. And that's what they should have done. Yeah. They should have gone back to that point to say, this is where the trigger started, which was an illegal, it was not part of our rules of the game.
Yeah, but like you said before earlier, okay, you go back to that point, then when do you stop rewinding?
Yeah, that's
okay,
right.
Yeah, but we weren't there.
Exactly.
The thing is, the funny thing is we're actually contradicting our own ideas now. That's over the system.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to discuss this system, and it's funny because we can't even figure it out now. Talking about it,
but that's why I believe that the only way out is not having technology.
You're right, 100%.
Not having technology,
because where do you stop? Where do you start?
That's right. It. Not having technology at all. Just one guy with a whistle, one woman with a whistle, saying yes or no, and they were part of the game as well. A referee is a human being. There's the players from both team and the referee and the linesman or whatever they have. And they make a decision how they see it. And that's how it's been for decades and centuries.
And there's been a lot less problems than what there has been in the last 5 years.
It hasn't improved. The decisions have not improved. If anything, I believe they've gone worse. They've gone worse.
Any sport. Yeah. Any sport.
Yeah.
Ask any sport about referees since technology has been improved.
It's definitely killed it because with soccer, there's not many points scored. And with the VAR, they've taken out the drama of a goal because the players can't even celebrate a goal anymore.
That's the worst
part.
So,
unlike rugby league or basketball, all these other games where there's a lot of points scored, in soccer, the whole thing about the sport is the goal. And the celebration.
The one goal.
Yeah, it could be 1-0, even a 1-1, even a 0 or draw can be a fantastic game in soccer, which is quite different to many other games. The VAR has taken the most important part of soccer out of it, which is the celebration of the goal by the players and their fans.
Their fans at home.
Without a doubt, because no one can celebrate until the other team kicks off, because at any moment it can be stopped and said, hang on, we're going to review this.
I've seen about the counter-attacking ball. a through ball from halfway. He dribbles, he cuts back, passes left, right, and then it's a goal. We're talking, 30 seconds ago, which in football is some time, Stop it earlier. And the other thing is, which is they tell the referee to play the advantage. Even if they're very good, these lines. When you've seen some of these,
they're great.
But they're told
they might get the odd one wrong.
Even if they're 70-30 that they think it's offside, even if you got a little bit of doubt, play it on to see what happens and let the VAR decide, which is fucked. It's
just
back yourself.
That's the problem. Everyone
let them. What do you mean? Let these guys play. Let them think they scored and then break them down. Break the fans down. They think that adds emotion. No, it heartbreak. I don't know what it's like to them, but watching your team score and then taken away from you is the worst feeling ever.
The problem is once you introduce technology, you don't know where to stop. Like there were many times throughout the grand final. I've seen other games throughout the year where many tackles. The tacklers held the player down way too long, which weren't given. So, where do you use technology in every single play of the ball? Whether it's the ball's passed forward, how do you measure how many forward passes you see? Dozens of them every game, and they let go, and that's fine because it flows. It doesn't make a difference unless it's on the line, but. One ball that's passed in your own 20 or one ball that's passed that scores a try, it's still as significant because that leads to something. But the only thing the problem with the NRL that they have, they're only using technology for the tries, which is a big mistake.
And the thing that they probably shouldn't. Slow motion, whether his fingernail was downward pressure. Fuck. Watch
he's
it in
over
real,
the line.
Watch
He's
it
got
in
the
real
ball
time.
in his
He's put
hand.
the ball down.
He's put the ball in, and that's
who
it.
Gives
Done.
A fuck?
Yeah, no.
Who actually gives a fuck? And no team gives a fuck if he slightly fumbled it over the line. That's bullshit. You slow down anything to a millisecond, and it looks like you fumbled it.
And they're destroying sport because even I, as a neutral, I sit down to watch sport, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, when's this terrible decision going to come? And not by the human error. I can understand that, but by technology.
Are we going to make the call right now on the podcast and say technology has ruined sport?
I think
forever?
So, yeah.
Are we going to say that?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
You know what? Technology has ruined sport.
It's ruined sport because
the history of sport.
Beauty, you know what the beauty of sport is? You know why sport is so important throughout humanity and the world? It's because it's like a mini lifetime. It's a battle. And that's what life is about, making mistakes, spanners in the works, things like that. But it's once you have a third party intervening in your life and making a decision for you, that's when it becomes unbearable. Right. And so that's what's happened. If we make a mistake or our opposition is better than us on the day, so be it. The problem comes when a third party intervenes, and that's why technology has destroyed sport.
That's true, 100%.
All right. Thank you, listeners of Private Universe. That was the Margarita Hour. Today we talked about refereeing and technology. I'll see you next time. From Private Universe, this is Carlos Camacho and Sebastian Camacho bidding farewell until next time.
Bye.